Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, and air restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Protesters in support of Palestinians have set up camp at UC San Diego tonight. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. The Israel-Hamas war has been a flashpoint on college campuses across the country. At noon today, students and community members started building an encampment outside the Giesel Library at UCSD. And KPBS education reporter MG Perez joins us now live from the campus with the latest. MG?
Maya, it has been peaceful so far. As you mentioned, protesters started to arrive here just after noon, and they came prepared with supplies and, of course, tents. Right now, there are several hundred of them here gathered. They are discussing strategies and also drumming up their rallying cry, much like we have seen on other campuses around the country. It's a sacred moment for the Muslim members of this coalition who held their daily prayer as rope was strung and bundles of lumber delivered to form this encampment of support for Palestinians half a world away. Here in the shadow of the Giesel Library, UC San Diego students have joined graduate students, faculty, and community members who want to be heard.
Everyone here is supporting one another and they're looking out for one another. We hope that campus police doesn't come here and create chaos for the students, and as of right now, that's all we can hope for.
In a written statement, UC San Diego Chancellor Pradeep Khosla said in part, UC San Diego fully supports the right to peacefully protest and express views on campus. However, we are also fully committed to protecting the physical safety of all individuals in our community and upholding the rights of all students, faculty, and staff to continue to work, study, and carry out the academic mission of the university without undue disruption. So students are ready to settle in for the night and stay as long as it takes. Palestinians side by side with some of their Jewish supporters.
There's a Jewish value that is really about life and that we value life. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm here today.
I want everyone to understand that the big picture about this is that we are standing with the 2 million people in Gaza who are being displaced and the 40,000 martyrs that have died. That's why we are doing this.
To be clear, the chancellor has called this encampment illegal because there was no permit. However, the organizers have said they plan to stay at least through the night. That's their plan right now. We certainly have seen the violence around the country. These organizers say they do not want this on this campus. Maya?
And MG, the university chancellor, said that he supports the right of free speech of the students, but how long will they be allowed to stay?
Well, the organizers tell me they're prepared to stay through the evening, and after that, it's really anyone's guess. Again, it is technically an illegal encampment. There are university police officers here on site, and so it really is a wait to see if there's any kind of safety issue, violence, and we will see how they pass the night.
Thanks for that reporting, MG. And Governor Gavin Newsom is condemning what he calls a slow response by police to a violent overnight scene at UCLA. Video shows a group of pro-Israel counter-protesters confronting those who have set up a pro-Palestinian encampment. Barricades were used as weapons and fireworks were shot into the encampment before police took control. UCLA canceled classes today in response.
We have a fairly cool night on our hands. Temperatures will get down to around 57 degrees. Patchy fog late tonight for some near the coast. And as we warm up tomorrow, we get a warming process over the next couple of days. So it will get a little more comfortable, but will also become a little more active across the west as well, as there's a fairly powerful late season storm that'll be moving through Oregon and Northern California this weekend. We'll take a look at our local prospects for maybe a brief rain shower tied to this coming up.
May 1st is International Workers' Day. Throughout the county, workers from nurses to janitors held rallies to demand better working conditions. KPBS North County reporter Alexander Nguyen was at Tri-City Medical Center for the nurses' rally this morning.
As registered nurses, we call on Tri-City administrators to do the right thing.
Nurses in the acute care units at Tri-City want the hospital to address the staffing shortage. They say it's a safety concern.
I know the Tri-City has been fiscally challenged, and we are aware of that, but we can't let that interfere with safe patient care and safety for our nurses.
According to the latest financial audit report, Tri-City's long-term debt was more than $70 million as of June 2023. Doris Turner, a relief charge nurse in the emergency department, says she has seen about a 35% decrease in staffing in the ER.
They've also decreased the numbers just across the board. So now our nurses don't get breaks. Our techs don't get breaks. You work 12 and a half hours without getting a break. And that's not safe for patient care. That increases risk of error.
The California Nurses Association, the union representing more than 400 Tri-City nurses, says they've attempted to resolve this concern for the past year. They've documented unsafe staffing levels, filed grievances to the administration, and taken a vote of no confidence in the emergency department leadership.
Nurses say that shortage is compromising patient care. In the emergency room, patients can wait anywhere between 8 to 24 hours for a bed because there are not enough nurses to staff those beds.
Ingrid Corona is the CNA's chief nurse representative at Tri-City. She says the hospital tries to resolve that by overextending nurses.
We're supposed to have 1 to 4 patients, but they will push when the patients have been there a long time and give the nurses 5 patients. And not always with the appropriate ancillary staff like lift and handling team and nursing assistants to help us provide the care.
She says Tri-City nurses are doing their best to provide quality patient care, but the situation is untenable.
Unfortunately, it's been going on for far too long and nurses are tired, and so we don't have break nurses a lot of days.
This is not nursing shortage. This is not staff shortage. This is fiscal decisions. We can't allow fiscal decisions to affect patient care.
The nurses say they care about their patients, and that's why they're speaking out. Tri-City has yet to respond to multiple requests for comments. Alexander Nguyen, KPBS News.
The fire on Oceanside Pier has created some shifts in foot traffic, leading some businesses that may have been overlooked in the past to see more customers. With the pier closed, fishermen are fishing at the Harborside Pier, but tourists are still attracted to the pier, wanting to see what it looks like now. With foot traffic being diverted down, driving extra business to places like Tin Fish.
It's been pretty busy with people looking at the pier, and then we're pretty much the only place open right now. It's been pretty chaotic, so we've gotten a lot of business from it, but also a lot of questions, what I thought about it or what they think they're going to do.
And Mayor Esther Chavez tells our media partner KGTV that the pier is insured, but the fire still declared a state of emergency, and that helps secure funds from FEMA and the state to reimburse the firefighting effort and a newly built pier. The cause of the fire is still being ruled as an accident. Starting today in Florida, people who are more than 6 weeks pregnant face an entirely new reality. A near total ban on abortion after 6 weeks is now in effect. Before now, patients had 15 weeks to legally seek an abortion. The new ban has limited exceptions, including for the life of the patient. And here at home, San Diego County supervisors passed a measure allowing the county to stockpile abortion medications. The board also directed staff to look at ways to ensure adequate access to misoprostol and mifepristone. The measure was approved 3-2, with Vice Chair Tara Lawson-Remer, Monica Montgomery Stepp, and Nora Vargas voting yes. Supervisors Joel Anderson and Jim Desmond voted no. There's a verdict in the lawsuit brought by the family of Oral Nunez, who died in the custody of Chula Vista police 4 years ago. The ruling found that the officers were justified in using force. And KPBS South Bay reporter Corey Suzuki joins us in the newsroom to discuss the verdict. Corey, can you remind us where this case started?
Maya, this case was really focused on how these 4 officers responded to a mental health call in March of 2020. It was captured on police body camera footage, and just a warning, some of that video is disturbing. The call was about Oral Nunes, a Northern California business owner and immigrant from Jamaica. Nunes was visiting family in Chula Vista when he began experiencing a mental health crisis. His daughter called 911 for help. When Chula Vista police arrived, they restrained Nunes using handcuffs and different types of body and head wrapping devices. Several officers forced him against the ground using their body weight. Nunes died in custody later that night.
And so what exactly led to this lawsuit in federal court?
Well, San Diego County District Attorney declined to file criminal charges against the officers, saying their actions were justified. But Nunes' wife, Roxy, and his daughter, Kimon, didn't agree with that account. They filed civil lawsuits against the city of Chula Vista, accusing the officers of using unlawful deadly force and targeting Nunes because he was black. Before the trial, their lawyers also pointed out that county medical officials diagnosed Nunes with a potential case of excited delirium, a disproven medical theory with racist roots that is largely now banned in California.
Now, Corey, what was Chula Vista's argument here?
Well, lawyers for the city said the officers were just following their training in how to approach a mental health crisis. And on Tuesday, a federal jury sided with that argument, ruling that the officers were justified in the amount of force they used. In the newsroom, Corey Suzuki, KPBS News.
For the past 2 months, we've been telling you about the childcare crisis. It's mostly dark clouds, but there are potential glimmers of hope. As part of the special KPBS series, Where's My Village, reporter Tanya Thorne looks at what happened in Portland, Oregon.
I just scored without jumping.
My boys know that, they're only going to get one of us. So they'll say, who works tomorrow, you or daddy? And that's a little bit, kind of gut-wrenching.
Anna and Nathan Dick both work in healthcare.
I work 12-hour shifts. I'm a respiratory therapist, and Nathan's a nuclear medicine technologist, so he works 10-hour shifts.
And when those shifts end, a second shift begins. Childcare for their 2 kids, Jonah and Micah.
So what we do is we alternate shifts. So on the days that I work, Nathan doesn't work. And when Nathan works, then I don't work. So that way there's always one parent home with the kids.
That means they don't pay for childcare, but there's still a price. Family time when they're all together is rare.
So occasionally we have a day off together that we're able to spend as a family, but that's the trade-off.
Many families know about juggling work, childcare, and quality family time all too well. It's a problem across the country. There was hope that federal legislation, Build Back Better, would fund more childcare, lifting an expensive burden for many families. But that didn't happen. Now, some communities are taking matters into their own hands. The sun peeks out after a winter storm in Portland, Oregon. Kids at Escuela Viva, a bilingual preschool, are eager to romp outside on the playground.
We all have children, or we have children that are important in our lives. Imagine trying to be present all day long with not just one child, but 10.
Angie Garcia is the owner, and she wants her school to support providers as much as possible.
Sustainable work hours, full benefits, the highest pay possible, and training and support so they feel equipped to meet the needs of the children.
By paying her staff a living wage, she's breaking decades of inequality.
I think this has been traditionally what folks say is women's work. And throughout history, what women do has often been undervalued.
But she hasn't had to raise prices for families. In fact, her school is free for children ages 3 and up.
And I think now, with this initiative with Preschool for All, having a contract, I don't have to worry about enrollment.
In 2020, Portland voters passed a ballot measure called Preschool for All. It taxes households with the highest incomes and uses that money to pay for preschool for children 3 and up.
It's just fantastic in terms of the benefits it provides for kids, the benefits it provides for parents, what it can and should be for people providing it. It reduces gender disparities, racial disparities, class disparities, and it's as good as any economic development strategy out there.
Mary King helped write the initiative. For her, a big part of it is to facilitate children's transition into kindergarten. The program is being slowly rolled out. Right now, in its second year, it's serving almost 1,400 kids. By 2030, it will serve almost all kids in the Portland region. While the transitional kindergarten program in California ended up hurting providers and made it harder to find infant care, the Portland measure was designed to be different. Leslie Barnes, who directs the program, says it supports infant care.
Even though we're funding preschool, we have to think about infant toddler care because, the more we build a system, you'll see probably more programs saying, hey, I'd rather just do preschool. They're investing all that over there. I'm just going to do less of the infant toddler care. And that's already so hard to find. And so those programs that offer infant toddler, we do have support for them as well.
We can absolutely do that here. And we are going to do that here. We're committed and passionate about making that happen.
Kim McDougall and Courtney Baltiski are with the San Diego County YMCA.
We have pulled together a group of incredibly passionate individuals and called ourselves the Children's First Collective.
They say a similar initiative like Portland's is in the works for San Diego.
It's not going to happen unless we have the dedicated funding, and at this point, we have to see new revenue be dedicated or come into the municipal systems to accomplish that.
It will be a few years before a child care initiative reaches a San Diego ballot, which means parents like Anna and Nathan will continue to make it work. They're making it work just like every other family in San Diego. New moms looking for infant care, stay-at-home moms transitioning back to the workforce with the help of TK. Childcare providers looking to expand their center to provide more care for more children. And families looking for childcare for children with any kind of developmental needs.
Tanya Thorne reporting. To see the whole series, go to kpbs.org/Where's My Village. May 1st is usually College Decision Day, but glitches in this year's free application for federal student aid have millions of students waiting to hear how much college will cost them this fall. Here's Karen Kafa with what you should know.
May 1st typically closes out the college application process.
They've made the decision about the best college for them, and the hard part is done.
But because of the delayed rollout of the new streamlined free application for federal student aid, or FAFSA, many schools did not receive student data from the Department of Education until March. Once they did, millions of forms were found to have errors, delaying financial aid offers and student decisions. Even the White House acknowledging the impact.
We have said, yes, the process has not gone smoothly, and we're doing everything that we can to make it go smoother.
Jill Dejean of the National Association of Student Financial Aid Administrators says there are concerns that first-generation and low-income students in particular have been too frustrated to finish the FAFSA process.
The FAFSA fiasco of this year has been telling them, don't bother applying for financial aid. It's too hard. The system's broken. We really need to start countering that narrative.
The National College Attainment Network says FAFSA completions are down 29% compared to last year's class at the same point in time. Pressed by lawmakers on Tuesday, Education Secretary Miguel Cardona said the department wants to get the word out that students still have time.
We're doing everything in our power to make sure we're providing more opportunities for students to fill out the better FAFSA.
The streamlined FAFSA cut its questions from a maximum of 108 questions to as few as 18. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
An invasive species at our coast may end up costing our region $4 million to fix. Do you recognize this plant? If you own an at-home aquarium, it may look a little familiar to you. This is Caulerpa algae. It was discovered in our waters last November, only a couple of months after California actually banned it. It can be found in pet stores as well as on Amazon and Etsy. Someone either flushed it or dumped it into the bay thinking that it was harmless, but it's actually killing our local algae, which is food to our region's sea life.
Yeah, Caulerpa has an impact by basically forcing out competing the native eelgrass and other forms of life in San Diego Bay that support the fisheries.
Environmental agencies are securing the first round of funding over the next 4 years to do a massive eradication of the algae. Caulerpa is not harmful to humans, but they are warning consumers not to buy it so the issue can be resolved. The CDC is warning about an E. coli outbreak tied to walnuts sold in bulk at stores across California. Dozens of people in California and Washington state fell ill after eating the walnuts, including 7 who were hospitalized. The walnuts were produced at Gibson Farms in Hollister, California. The FDA says the company issued a voluntary recall last week. Stores in San Diego, San Marcos, Escondido, and Encinitas sold the walnuts. Customers should be notified about the recall. We also have a list on our website, kpbs.org.
Well, as we take a look at the forecast here over the next few days, we'll turn a little warmer over the next few days. Thursday, Friday, a little warmer than the preceding day. We will see some of that patchy morning fog near the coast here. Sometimes we call it May gray or June gloom this time of the year. There's also a pretty powerful late season storm, more of like a late March type storm for Northern California and into parts of Oregon and Washington. This will bring a foot or two of snow to some of the northern Sierra, and we will have a chance for a brief shower Saturday night or Sunday locally tied to that. But in the meantime, the clouds increase. We'll get down to 57 degrees tonight, and tomorrow we're on the road to 69 degrees in the city. Oceanside 70, Escondido around 74, and into areas like Borrego Springs we're on track for 93. So it will be quite a bit warmer into the interior than compared to a few days ago. Here comes this storm system. You'll notice that the overwhelming majority of the moisture tied to this will stay to our north. Maybe a few sprinkles or showers, though, locally late Saturday, I should say, Saturday night and into Sunday. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that. The core of this storm, though, Friday night through Saturday approaches the northern part of California and Oregon, and locally, again, it'd be Saturday evening, Saturday night into early Sunday morning, where we might see a passing shower, maybe just a trace or a few hundredths of an inch of rain locally. There will be some wind across the western U.S. tied to this. Most of the winds that will be gusting over 40 miles per hour will stay off to our north Saturday night. Sunday it moves into the interior and then into the high plains way off to our east come Monday. So we'll be watching out for some of the impacts tied to that. You'll notice that at face value, we do keep our coastal forecast explicitly dry here. 71 by Friday, then we cool back down. Breezy with that storm system nearby. We lose about 5 degrees from Friday to a cooler Sunday. Inland areas, though, more cloud cover tied to this Saturday night to Sunday. We warm up to 77 Friday, back down to 64 Sunday, and into the mountains. This is where we actually do introduce the actual rain showers in the forecast in a slightly more intense way here, at least regarding enough to trigger the icon to switch over there. We're looking at maybe a couple tenths of an inch on some west-facing slopes. Mid to upper 50s, back into the low 40s on that cool, breezy, and occasionally damp Sunday. And for the deserts, we rise to the low 90s Thursday. Friday, still low 90s. Back into the mid 70s with that active breeze on Sunday. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Jeff Cornish for KPBS News.
Today and tomorrow are Public Media Giving Days. Public media stations across the nation, including KPBS, are celebrating what public media gives you and what you give us. It's because of you that KPBS is the go-to place for trusted news and thoughtful storytelling. And we would love to hear what public media gives you in your own words. Share on your social media accounts using hashtag #PublicMediaGives so that we can enjoy these moments with you. Thank you for your support, and thank you for spending time with us. And today is the start of the World Design Festival in Tijuana, which ties together with San Diego. KPBS reporter Jacob Ayers says the festival is one part of a larger program recognizing the binational region, with tons of events planned now through November.
The San Diego-Tijuana region was designated as the World Design Capital for 2024 due to the two cities' commitment to human-centered design and cross-border collaboration.
And that's because of our incredible talents and skills across a variety of different dimensions: arts, culture, design, and innovation.
It's a prestigious honor, says Director of the Design Lab at UC San Diego and Board Chair with the World Design Capital, Mai Nguyen. This week, she's helping to put on the World Design Festival in Tijuana, one of 7 signature events this year tied into the designation.
And we are creating 100 events in 40 different venues. They will be experiences, workshops, talks, tours, showroom tours.
The 5-day festival runs from May 1st through 5th, and the central core of events will be at the Tijuana Cultural Center, where Monterrey Institute of Technology professor Jose de la O will be showing his work.
It's using objects like regular objects and see how can they tell stories about migrants, not only in the border, but across Mexico.
It will feature baby carriers, cell phones, bracelets, and other items with deeper meanings. The exhibition is called Arqueología en Tránsito, or Archaeology in Transit.
It's an exhibition that is not about finding a solution, but it's more about creating empathy through objects.
Other parts of the festival will be spread across Tijuana. The World Design Capital Awards have been given to cities around the globe every 2 years since 2008. San Diego Tijuana is the first ever cross-border region to get the designation.
The world is, and many border communities are looking at us as an example of what what works, but also what doesn't work.
Nguyen says the designation and this festival are a call to action to bring the community together.
To work on some of our very difficult societal issues like climate change, like affordable housing, using the lens of design. So we're doing both. We're showcasing what's great about us, but we're also focusing in on actually using design to solve real problems.
The sister event, World Design Experience in San Diego, will take place in September. Dozens of other World Design Capital events will run through November on both sides of the border. For more information, go to wdc2024.org. Jacob Ayer, KPBS News.
You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Good night.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, and air restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.